colleague, our final guest for tonight, Senior Vice President of FRC Action, Tom McClusky, is going to join us. Today, Obamacare is being argued in the Supreme Court, but there is much you can do to ensure your voice is heard, and Tom will guide us through those action steps as we wind up tonight. Tom, welcome to the program tonight.
Thanks, Tony. You know, any excuse to wear makeup, I'm there.
Yes, and you get the heels too. Well, let's talk about the action steps. What folks need to do. This is before the court. The court will be arguing again tomorrow. It'll be June probably or beyond before we get an actual decision. Go through the action steps for folks.
Well, the first, as always, is pray. Nothing is more important than praying throughout this whole thing. Pray for our members of Congress that they do the right thing. Pray for the Supreme Court that they do the right thing, and that the good ones keep healthy. They all keep healthy. And also, secondly, pledge. We have a pledge on our website. If you go to FRC Action, runtorepeal.org, you can sign our pledge to repeal Obamacare for the courts. Also that you will only vote for candidates that stick for Obamacare, or will stick it to Obamacare and repeal it. And you'll support for the courts to repeal it as well. And then lastly, protest. Talked a little bit tonight about the conscience mandate that President Obama is trying to get you to violate your religious conscience. So one thing we're asking you to do is you can comment to HHS. They're asking for comments. And the main comment we want you to say, don't do it. Don't make us violate our conscience.
So that, in summary, is pray, pledge, and protest.
Right. Very alliterative, very easy to remember.
That's 3 Ps.
3 Ps.
Yes. All right, Tom, I want to get some questions to you, some questions that have come in tonight before we wrap up here to give people the benefit of your knowledge. This question came from Carol, kind of the implications for nonprofits. Will 501c3 nonprofit organizations be required to purchase health care for their employees under Obamacare, and is the amount of coverage mandated within Obamacare?
Well, yes. That was the whole point of Obamacare, was that there is a mandate. The amount of coverage specifically is not mandated, but what will be covered is. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, there is, and that's part of what this so-called contraception right. Sterilization mandate is about. And it's what we fear that after 2012, it will also include abortion. It's very likely that it would.
Yeah, and if the religious organizations can be forced to violate the tenets of their faith in terms of contraception and abortifacients, which are included in this, you know, the next step is for the government to force them to fund abortion.
Right.
I mean,
the wall will be down.
This administration is not afraid to push the envelope, and if people, you know, just sit by quietly and let it happen, they will be happy to continue to push and push. Another question, how much will the fine be if a nonprofit does not purchase the health insurance for its employees?
Well, it can be $100 per an employee. So say you have...
is that per day, or is that...
Per a day. So if you have 100 employees, that could be $3.65 million every year. So that could be quite a lot of money. And
well, think about a nonprofit organization that, I mean, we touched on this but didn't go into great detail. We were talking about 1 out of every 6 Americans gets their hospital care from a Catholic hospital. Nearly 20% in nonprofit religious hospitals. If these organizations are forced to violate their conscience or their rights, their moral teachings on abortifacients, or whether it be abortion, or face these fines of $360,000 or, you know, whatever it may be, depending on how many employees they have, we could literally see them shutting the doors.
And there's a lot of people who imply, and I'll imply it right now, that I think that's what the Obama administration would like to see. We've seen similar things happen on the homosexual issue and adoption in states like Illinois and in Massachusetts, where Catholic charities and other Christian adoption agencies were run out of business because of oppressive laws just like this.
And that crowding out just begs for the expansion of government. Because when those nonprofit religious charitable organizations go away, someone is going to step in and fill the vacuum, and it's going to be government, of course, with a much higher price tag.
And not as well. I mean, we've seen time and time again, you saw personally in your work after Katrina, that it's the churches, it's the Christian community that does jobs like that the best.
One final question before we wrap this up tonight. And again, I want to thank you for participating in tonight's webcast. And I do want to encourage you to take those action steps to pray, pledge, and to protest. Let your voice be heard on these matters, because it does make a difference. A question regarding the timeline. When will the requirement of employers to purchase health care insurance go into effect? When will we see ObamaCare actually go into full implementation?
Well, part of it is already being implemented right now. Things like now your 26-year-old kid can now stay on your insurance for all that long. I'm sure that's parents across the country going, yay. And also, this bill was written for President Obama's reelection. The really bad stuff, the taxes, the insurance mandate, don't start till 2014. When
after
he would be,
the election.
After his election, when he would be well into his, if he were to be reelected second term. And that's when you're going to see, that's when the state insurance exchanges have to be up and running, is 2014.
All right, Tom, as we close out tonight, one last question. We have several members of Congress. Of course, we had the conservatives here tonight who have been out front on this issue. Do members of Congress need to hear from our viewers tonight to really push forward on a repeal?
Without a doubt. And full repeal is probably one of the most important things. It sends a message to the courts that Congress isn't here to fix this bill. They either want it repealed or they want the court to take care of it. And beyond that, even if Obamacare is repealed, what you need to see is the messes that have already started, like this contraceptive mandate and everything else, still needs to be taken care of by Congress.
Tom McClusky, thanks so much for being with us tonight. Thanks for the work you do on the Hill. Well, folks, I want to again thank you for being with us tonight and being a part of this webcast. This will be archived on our website, and I encourage you to share this with your friends so that they can watch it as well. As you've heard tonight, this is not simply about health care. As important as access to good quality health care is, and it is important, I understand that, and we want to preserve that. But even more fundamental, we want to preserve our freedom. We want to preserve our rights as Americans. And if the government can mandate that you buy health care, that they have approved and that they have determined what the contents will be, there's little that they cannot force you to do. So folks, I want to encourage you to pray for our nation, pray for our president, that he might do what's right. Pray for those in Congress that they would have the courage and determination to stand up for what is right and what is according to our Constitution, the government's contract with the American people. And I want to encourage you to pledge. Make that pledge to only support those who understand what's at stake in this and are willing to take a public stand to repeal Obamacare, its remnants, or whatever's left after the court is over. And then I want to encourage you to petition, to protest, to let your voice be heard in this debate wherever it crops up, wherever freedom is at risk. I hope you'll be there to let your voice be heard. Because all of us here at the Family Research Council, our voices will be here continually. As long as you stand with us, supporting us and praying for us, we'll be advancing faith, family, and freedom for you. Good night.